Live on DP's News, and it's time for news. Hello, good evening. I'm Siyoko Kwakucha. Welcome to the news. 10 shops at the Abuabo market in the Tamale metropolis of the northern region have been gutted by fire. The fire, which started in the early hours of today, Saturday, destroyed foodstuffs and other valuables worth thousands of cedis. It is unclear what might have started the fire, but some owners have blamed the situation on the recent intermittent power fluctuations that has been experienced in the metropolis. There were hundreds of combustibles that were swept by the fire. When the news team got there, some of the distressed victims were salvaging what they could get from the debris. They expressed displeasure about recent power fluctuations that has hit the metropolis. They pleaded with the authorities to come to their aid.
Yantimi, if anyone in a 350 bucks. Mamma, me, Mamma, Sonia, my 300 bucks. New Year, Minjin is 20 bucks on po. A day on the pump shop. And mobile or how much me a bomb me among function penny for himself. No me boy. We appeal to the general public and then more importantly to benevolent people, those who can come to our aid, because most of those staffs belong to other people who also come to put their foodstuffs around. The Northern Regional PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO2 Baba Hudu, expressed concern about the increasing rate of fire outbreaks in the metropolis since the beginning of the year. He said preliminary investigations revealed electrical faults as the cause of the fire, but full-scale investigations will commence soon.
If you saw from behind, you realize that the fire actually started there, and because of the kind of combustible materials there, including the foodstuffs and other things, the heat now transferred to the store building. But because it is at the marketplace, you wouldn't tell. We cannot tell for now, but all indications are that it is electricity. Yes, but we are not confirming that yet until we commence investigation.
The latest incident brings to 47 the number of fire outbreaks recorded in the metropolis since the beginning of the year. On Wednesday, fire engulfed a 16-room compound house at Koblimango in Tamale. The National Labour Commission, NLC, has sued the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, over its nationwide strike. The NLC is seeking an interlocutory injunction to compel the lecturers to return to work. The Commission had earlier asked UTAG to call off its strike after declaring it illegal. UTAG members on all campuses are on strike to force the government to restore the conditions of service agreed upon in 2012. The 3-week-old strike has sparked worry among students as they anticipate that the academic calendar will be disrupted. The president of the University of Ghana chapter of UTAG, Dr. Samuel Nkuban, said a shutdown of public universities is imminent if the strike continues.
We do understand that the National Labour Commission a couple of days ago went to court seeking an expert to place the same interrogatory injunction on our strike. Fortunately, on the side of UTAG, the court didn't grant that, and that if they wanted to deal with it early, then they needed to serve us, and so we needed to be notified. And that is why they've gone back to file and then to duly notify us. UTAG has duly forwarded the student attachments to Amuba team also, who will be filing a response, and then the UTAG team will make utterance on the first day, which is 3rd of February 2022. We don't understand why it is the case that there is a labor union that National Labour Commission has authority to bring to order, and in the case of government, the filing is part of the bargain. Nothing happens to government, and that is the basis for some of the reasons why many of the right actions that are declared illegal have not been held binding by the members. We are always willing to meet and to hear what there is to offer from the side of government. But our demands are quite very clearly stated. And so if it is the case that government is offering us that, or that if government has a proposition that it wants us to listen to and to make consideration in terms of whether we will accept or not, we are open to such engagement.
The government says it will continue to establish more concessions which are able to employ about 5,000 workers each. The Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. George Murekuduka, said this on Friday when he paid a working visit to the administrators of the Minerals Development Fund at Labone in Accra.
For Mr. Murekuduka, it is important for indigenes of communities and Ghanaians in general to benefit from the activities and inflows of royalties of Ghana's natural resources. He charged the fund administrators to work for the benefit of Ghanaians, for which purpose the fund was established.
People from the mining communities have been complaining. For that matter, people would want to see tangible projects that in future we can say got them out of the gold proceeds. And if the indigenes of this country, especially from the mining communities, are going to be proud of something that they can show, much will depend on MDF.
He encouraged the administrators of the fund to consult and work with the chiefs of various communities where minerals are mined. The former vice chairman of the Committee on Mines in Parliament commended the fund's administrator and his team for the good work done, established in 2016 by an Act of Parliament, Act 912. Mr. Duka is the first minister to have visited the office since it was refurbished. The fund has since undertaken community and development projects such as construction of chiefs compounds, markets, toilet facilities, a new 5-story administrative block for the fund office, among other things. The concept of community mining is to involve the youth in those areas to discourage them from activities that undermine good mining practices. According to Section 3 of the MDF Act, Act 912 of 2016, it is to address the harmful effects of mining on affected communities and persons and undertake projects to promote the mining sector, among others.
The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, and the Coalition of Private Transport Operators say we will conclude deliberations on increments of transport fares on February 2, 2022. This announcement was made at a stakeholder meeting with the various transport operator groups. Drivers in the country had earlier raised concerns over the hike in fuel prices. Despite their intended strike, they backed down pending negotiations with the government. The head of communications for GPRT, Mr. Abbas Imoro, in an earlier interview said the government has failed to heed their request to scrap some levies on fuel to cause a reduction in the price of petroleum products.
Currently, we have two schools of thought. One is the scrapping of some taxes, which we have mentioned earlier on. And the second one is upward adjustment in welfare. This, of course, is waving up for upward adjustment, which wasn't our first choice. So we have the opportunity as Ghanaians, as our fundamental human right as Ghanaians, to still talk about the scrapping, because some of them has overlived their age. Some of the taxes were brought into being due to the situation it was in that time. And they were given a period of resistance. So until Wednesday, that we are finally decided, I don't have to mention some of the other points by mentioning some of the actions we are going to take. We'll be with the public to wait patiently after Wednesday's meeting.
The Ghana Meteorological Agency says another burst of dry weather is expected this weekend. In an interview with GBC News, the chief forecaster with the agro-meteorological unit of the Meteorological Agency, Madam Felicity Ahiafianyo, explained that humidity is expected to drop to between 10 and 20% over the northern sector, with a visibility range of 500 to 5,000 meters.
Around the Harmattan season, we have the dust particles that are in suspension in the air. So it normally reduces visibility or how far you can see, mostly during the day and then the night time. And then in terms of the relative humidity, that's the dryness of the air. I think most of us are feeling it, so it's not going to support any cloud development. So it's going to be a bit dry, and then it's not suitable for us to be playing around with open fires. We are advising our motorists, especially the drivers that drive during the night, dawn, and then the morning hours, that they should drive carefully, because we have a lot of potholes on the road. If you are not able to watch well, then you are going to run into it, and subsequently it's likely to result into an accident. If your car breaks down on the road, it is advisable that you throw it away, park it at a place that it will not be disadvantaged to another road user. And then in terms of the relative humidity, the hunters, those that use open fire tools, this is the time that they should be very, very diligent with it. They should be careful. The plantain roasters by the roadside, anybody that uses firewood or gas, this is the time that we should be attentive. We should pay attention to it. So that once we are done with the fire, we make sure that we quench the least of it. The farmers that may be using the fires to clear their land in preparation for the rainy season, we are pleading with them that they should do it cautiously. They should form farm dogs, fire dogs around their farms before they set the fire in, and then pay attention before any other things. And then for the food vendors, they have to be closing their, covering their food stuff, because we have a lot of dust that is full of bacteria and germs and every other thing. So this is the time that they should cover their food stuff before selling.
The Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital will no longer have any challenges meeting its oxygen needs. This follows the establishment of a 300 Newton meter cube oxygen plant, which has the capacity to supply more than enough the total demand of the hospital and that of facilities within the Greater Accra region. Reports by Sarah Ofori.
COVID-19 exposed the shortfalls in oxygen supply of the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. Its oxygen concentrators were not functional. However, sources say the hospital since 2001 has had challenges with oxygen supply.
There was a particular problem with the pipeline that went to the surgical block, the surgical theaters, where during the peak hours, the pressures within that system, were dropping. Okay, and so that has been worked on. There were also some human elements that were also responsible for that, because there were people who were supposed to make sure that these the cylinders are changed regularly and all that around the clock.
Until recently, the hospital's plants could produce 30 Newton meters cube, and the deficit was made up for by donations from B5 Plus. With a $7 million funding and through a public-private partnership, the 300 Newton cubes oxygen plant was constructed. It has the capacity to produce 6 times the demand of the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital.
This oxygen plant was manufactured by Inmatex Germany. It has 3 main components: the compressor, the PSA unit, and then the filling station. The compressor and the PSA are from Germany, and then the filling station is from the United Kingdom, from a company called Oxy Systems. If properly maintained, it can last for 50 years or even more. We are using oil-free compressors. What it means is that the leakage of oil into the even oxygen line is no more a problem. So we maintain twice a year. We do software upgrades from the manufacturer twice a year. We have a SIM card in this machine that allows the manufacturer to log in at any time. When there's an error, there's a text message that goes to Germany or comes to me.
The plant can adequately supply other hospitals within the Greater Accra region. Each 50-litre cylinder is sold at 80 cedis to other medical facilities. Since distribution began last week, over 1,300 cylinders have been distributed to the public and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
We've also refurbishing all the other oxygen concentrators on the compound. And then this, at that time, this unit hadn't been completed. So now that this has completed, at least it will ensure that we have redundancy in the oxygen supply, because oxygen is a very essential element in the work that we do. So we want to make sure that going forward, we have, extra capacity and extra redundancy within the system, so that the oxygen issues will now become a thing of the past.
The oxygen produced is said to be the best medical grade oxygen with 96% purity, the highest in the country. Sarah Fori, GBC News, Accra.
Let's stay a while longer. The Kolebu Teaching Hospital and refurbishment of the Kolebu surgical block has begun to save it from further deterioration. The 57-year-old 6-story structure has not been renovated since it was established in 1965. Works on the external part of the building is expected to be complete by April this year, although the block will remain operational during the period. Meanwhile, the expansion works and construction of a number of facilities is ongoing steadily. Another report by Sarah Ofori.
The 240-bed surgical block of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital plays a significant role in the services offered by the hospital. Specialized care such as neurosurgery, breast cancer surgery, liver and pancreas surgeries, vascular and thyroid surgeries, as well as general surgeries. It is also a hub for training of surgeons. Its theaters and intensive care units may be rated as good, but the building housing these units is worn out. Corroded metal rods and beams, broken louver blades, torn and dirty mosquito nets. There are cracks in parts of the building. The washrooms are not in a dignified state. The elevators in the wards are not functional except one of the 2 transport elevators. Handing over the contract to refurbish the exterior part of the surgical block to Cathalon Ghana Limited, the contractors, the chairman for the project, Dr. Frederick Quartin, said the move is intended to restore decency to the deteriorating infrastructure.
The Kolebu Surgical Tower Block and the Maternity Tower Block have deteriorated to an extent that it's a big eyesore to the country. The scope of work includes restoration of all cracks and removal of deteriorated metals that are all rotten, and then also external painting of the entire structure. The hospital also intends to replace the mosquito nets that are dilapidated and restore it with new ones, so that in the end the surgical block will look decent.
The chief executive of the hospital, Dr. Opoku Wariampoma, said the status of the hospital in the sub-region requires that it be given the right ambience to operate. Hence, the hospital's services and facilities are being upgraded.
This hospital is a hub for training, it's a hub for research, it's a hub for high-level medical work, and so we believe that this has to be matched by the infrastructure, because that has been our Achilles heel, which affects the ability of our medical experts to perform more efficiently and to also reach more numbers.
The contractor, Mr. Francis Sukpa, said works on the exterior is expected to be completed within 3 months at a cost of over 400,000 Ghana cedis. He assured management of quality service. Sarah Furi, GBC News, Accra.
Also, Home Basic School is a winner of the 2021 Smart Governance Challenge by the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE, held in Accra. The Smart Governance Challenge is a quiz on the Constitution, aimed at promoting civic education among pupils in the basic schools. The chairperson of NCCE, Madam Josephine Nkrumah, says the Commission is working to upgrade the constitutional quiz from the district level to the national stage to engender a national understanding of the essence of democracy to a citizen's well-being.
The National Commission for Civic Education began the Smart Governance Challenge for basic schools in 2015 at the district level. In 2021, the challenge was upgraded to comprise winners of the various districts. The competing schools were Standard Foundation, Anointed Academy, Osu Home and Mystical Rose. The pupils were quizzed on the principles and objectives of the Constitution. Pupils from the Osu Home emerged winners of the 2021 challenge, followed by Standard Foundation. The second and third runner-ups were Mystical Rose and Anointed Academy respectively after a series of tie-breaking questions. The winners received a cash prize of 3,000 Ghana cedis from Goil Company, a plaque, gold medals for all participants and tutors, certificates, 20 copies of the 1992 Constitution, and a hamper. The first runner-up took home 2,000 Ghana cedis as cash prize, silver medals, a hamper, certificate, and 20 copies of the 1992 Constitution, while the third and fourth schools received cash prizes of 1,500 and 1,000 respectively. Medals, hampers, certificates, and copies of the Constitution. The chairperson of the NCCE, in an interview GBC News, praised NCCE directors from the 6 competing districts, Ga Central, Ablikma North, La Dadeko-Tupong, and Ashaiman, for the commitment to the success of the competition. She said the competition will draw active citizenship from the pupils and enable them to participate in sustaining Ghana's democracy.
I guess to nurture citizens to become solution-oriented. To be solution-oriented, they need to understand the Constitution, understand what values we preach in the Constitution, understand that as a people, if you read the preamble of our Constitution, there are aspirations that we have agreed that we want to secure for ourselves. And it says that we want to secure for ourselves the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity.
The Chief Director at the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Evans Agwidakun, described the competition as the best way to nurture the youth to become responsible citizens to consolidate the country's democratic gains.
The Young Men Christian Association, YMCA, Ghana says it is committed to its core mandate of empowering the youth with technical and vocational skills. The Greater Accra Regional Patron, Mr. Michael Leslie Ballard Vanderpoy, said entrepreneurship is the way to go in securing the future of the youth.
YMCA Ghana is a non-governmental organization focused on developing the minds, bodies and spirits of young people to make them productive. Speaking to GBC News, the Greater Accra Regional President of YMCA, Nana Odenuhu Jabo II, Odukro Kwabin Abomosu, said it is imperative to ensure that the youth remain healthy so that investment of empowerment would yield dividends for a longer period of time. The new regional patron, Mr. Michael Leslie Ballard Vanderpoy, encouraged members to help pool energies together to form a formidable group and make it better. The Deputy Chief Executive of the National Youth Authority, NYA, Mrs. Akosua Menu, said YMCA Ghana has the same mandate as the NYA and pledged the authority's continuous support in building the capacities of the youth.
Commuters of the Kwame Prakrom to Ayamfuri Road at Dunkwao, Ayamfuri in the Upper Dintra region have called on the government to fix their roads. They say the situation is affecting businesses as well as causing health problems.
The 15-kilometer Dunkwao Ayamfuri Road has only 7 kilometers complete, with the remaining 8 kilometers from Kwame Prakrom to Ayamfuri uncompleted. The Dunkwao Ayamfuri Road which links the entire Ashanti Central, Western and Western North regions, has for years not been given the needed attention. The dusty nature of the entire road is affecting transport operators and residents in the community. The Dentra Youth Congress, a group of young professionals and senior citizens of Dentra, are therefore calling on the government to help fix the road.
Look at the quantum of dust. At least the contractor, if he's not to fix it from time to time, should have at least water the road to tow down the dust, because like the dry season. Look at the leaves around, look at people's roofs, look at all of other activities happening to see that the dust has become a nuisance and must be dealt with. Must be corrected.
Some residents also complained of serious health problems caused by the dusty road.
We baba yere kakra no agya ho no ko we baba yere kakra no agya ko enso abato time so dia ekwan no bata so no mo ye wi a biki sam aban ne betia so na so onya ye to aban ma no wi a ye hu de ekobiem ese o ma gya to na mfuturo kuan ne se ekun ye.
The people of Oluahai Community near Kluagogo in the Yilo Krobo municipality of the Eastern region have made a passionate appeal to the government through the municipal chief executive, Mr. Eric Tete, and the member of parliament for Yilo Krobo constituency, Mr. Albert Tete Nyakote, to help fix the road leading to the community. They made the appeal when GBC News visited the community.
Oluahai is a farming community located about 2 kilometers away from Kluagogo in the Yilo Krobo municipality. It has a population of over 400. Farmers here grow crops including plantain, yam, cassava, vegetables and fruits. The road leading to the community is in such a bad state that no vehicle plies it. As a result, the community members commute to and from the area on motorbikes. This has also affected carton of farm produce to market centers, as the farmers have to carry the produce to the markets on their heads. Access to potable water is also a challenge. For their drinking water, the inhabitants of Oluahai depend on a well, which gets dry during the Harmattan season. The community has erected a shed that serves as the only school in the area, which handles pupils from kindergarten to basic 4. Oluahai has no healthcare facility, so the people have to travel long distances to Kluagogo to access healthcare, which has led to loss of lives because of delay in transporting people to the health center. The assemblyman of the Oluahai electoral area, Mr. Kofi Nati, gives details about the plight of the people in the community.
We are calling on the government to come to our aid and construct the road for us, because it serves a lot of purposes. But I am praying that both Upper Manya and then Yilo will come together and do this in a central government project so that the two communities will benefit from it.
One of the Cala riders who operates in the area, Mr. Cephas Tete, said they sometimes organize communal labor to keep the road in shape, but it does not help much. He noted that due to the struggle for water for house chores, people in the area sometimes do not go to school, and even when they do, they report very late.
The West African Humanitarian Aid, in collaboration with the Turkish government, has handed over an ultra-modern water facility to the Ayebin Memorial Primary and Kindergarten at Ayawasu North Municipal Assembly in Accra. The laboratory-tested borehole will address the water challenges of the school and access to potable water.
The water facility will serve school children, teachers and community members. Water from the borehole, after going through a series of lab tests, was cleared to be hygienic for consumption. The director of West African Humanitarian Aid, Selman Oznepa, said other projects earmarked will be completed at Ayabeng Memorial Primary and Kindergarten, as well as other needy schools across the country.
We are supporting many of the schools, importantly School for the Blind, School for the Deaf, and also we are supporting disabled people NGOs. We just started 7 months ago, but Alhamdulillah, we finished more than $500,000 project now. And we have very nice school project in WA under Islamic Education Unit. So in the future, we want to continue with education project, health project, and humanitarian project in Ghana.
The chairman of Ayawasu Zango Chiefs and a founding father of the school, Chief Baba Umoru Issa, expressed gratitude to the donors and other players for making the project a success.
This water project is going to support the children of Kotobabi from Accra New Town, Mamubi, Pig Farm, Nima, and so many other places. We are indeed grateful to you. Yes, I must also appreciate and commend the good efforts of the director or directors of Ayawan Suno Municipal Assembly Education Units and the teaching staff of Ayabeng Memorial.
The head teacher of the Ayabeng Memorial Primary and Kindergarten School, Mr. Solomon Adovo, said management of the school will exhibit a high maintenance culture to extend the lifespan of the facility.
And the remains of a former head of the video editing department of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Reverend Samuel Amuba, has been laid to rest in the eastern region. The late Reverend Amuba died after a short illness. He was 60 years.
October 7, 1961, the late Reverend Samuel Amuba started his public service at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation GBC on July 20, 1990 as editing assistant at the television division. By dint of hard work, he rose through the ranks to become the head of editing on July 1, 2018, a position he held till his demise on November 8, 2021. Tributes from GBC read by the current head of video editing, Mrs. Charity Agbako, eulogized the late Reverend Amuba.
He has been a great inspiration to us, and we will always remember how he taught us the value of hard work, good judgment, and integrity. One of his many qualities was his good listening skills, which as subordinates we could always count on.
His daughter, Miss Florence Amuba, said her father was a pillar in her life.
He instilled in me a very strong work ethic and taught me never to give up in life.
For the widow, Mrs. Elizabeth Amuba, her late husband was an inspiration.
You taught me to be patient in all things, no matter what. If I had a meeting or otherwise, after church service, you happily waited for me patiently till I finished. Goodbye, my love, till we meet again.
In a sermon, Apostle Dr. Evans Odonko of the Christ Independent Chapel encouraged mourners to live for God.
In times like this, when you see the dead body lying, beloved, you need to sit down quietly and begin to think.
The late Reverend Samuel Amuba was baptized and confirmed into the Presbyterian Church at Chebi. He later became a reverend minister at the International Deliverance and Prayer Ministry. He also attended Chebi Presbyterian Primary and Middle Schools. He enrolled at the then Accra Polytechnic, where he obtained his higher national diploma. He left behind a wife and a daughter.
It's the beginning of a new life.
And a footprint left in the sands of time. You're still watching News Hour live on GBC News. In business, Mcdonnell Aviation, a subsidiary of the Mcdonnell Group of companies, has officially launched its commercial private jet operations at the Kotoka International Airport in Accra. The latest addition of a private airline to the running at Ghana's airport has led to the creation of an ultra-modern private jet launch solely to serve clients of the Mcdonnell Airlines. The launch formally opened at Terminal 2 of the airport in Accra, and the chief executive of the Mcdonnell Group, Mr. Daniel Macaulay, said aviation services are now directly at the doorstep of the top business class in the country.
A new page has turned in Ghana's aviation industry with the first commercial private jet airline owned by a Ghanaian and operating from the Kotoka International Airport in Accra. Mcdonnell Aviation Company acquired a fixed-based operator license from the Ghana Airports Company Limited. The ultra-modern private jet lounge and terminal, which is the first in Ghana, is equipped to provide first-class aviation services to all, especially the business class, and to promote international businesses and aviation tourism in the country. The Mcdonnell Private Jet Lounge has a conference room for guests to hold business meetings without necessarily leaving the airport or the city, and may wish to return to their home base that day.
It's not above middle class. I mean, depending on what you're doing in the sub-region, anywhere you want to go, depending on the business that you want to run. Traveling in the sub-region is very difficult. Because now you want to go to a place like Senegal, no flights. You have to go to Europe before you come down. So this is a solution for Africa. This is a solution, and Ghanaian businessmen must take advantage of this opportunity and make their business quite flexible, quite easy, and close deals. It's also give you another class that look at. We are the only company in the country which is licensed to manage private jets.
The chief executive of the Mcdonnell Group, Mr. Daniel Macaulay, said Mcdonnell Aviation will start running commercial aviation services with 3 private jets and 1 helicopter, and subsequently add other aircraft including a Challenger 604 Bombardier and Gulfstream jets and helicopters, which will offer air ambulance services.
We have all the units here, including customs. So you pass through here. If you want to relax in any of the lounges, you can relax. If you want to have your bath before you fly, you can have your bath. If you want to have massage, you can have massage. And also we have unique services here that you might not find in most of the FBO lounges in the world, because this place, before you fly, you can book the food you want. We send you the menu. You can book what you want. Even if you want kelewele, we'll get you kelewele on your flight. So this is exclusive service that we intend to provide from this terminal.
The Mcdonnell Aviation Company says its flagship service will be equipped with all the standard aviation service personnel, including immigration officers, national security, and the Ghana Health Service. It will also adhere to all international aviation rules for the expected safety. The project is also estimated to provide employment to more than 400 Ghanaians in 2022.
Still in business, the Minerals Commission has implored stakeholders in the mining sector to step up efforts to promote women's participation in the exploitation of the country's natural resources. The Deputy Chief Executive of the Commission, Ms. Shirley Che, says having a diverse and more inclusive mining industry will help increase the sector's profitability. She made the remarks at the annual general meeting of women in Ghana held in Accra.
There is gender disparity in the mining industry. Despite the vigorous campaign on diversity and inclusion in the last 2 decades, women continue to be vastly underrepresented in various fields of endeavor. According to Bloomberg, the proportion of women employed by mining companies is around 15.7%, up only 1% in the past 5 years, and the numbers are worse at management levels. In Ghana, women represent less than 10% of the mining sector's total workforce. Women in Mining Ghana, an advocacy group driving the sector's inclusivity campaign, has been pushing for more diversity in the industry. This year's annual general meeting of the group focused on tackling the impediments undermining effective female participation in the industry.
A growing body of evidence suggests that stronger financial performance, improved governance, and reduced risk of bankruptcy are associated with the participation of women on corporate boards and in senior management positions. Our cultural myths have not been helpful in this respect either, as have rather added to the impediments against women in the sector. I therefore take this opportunity to call on women in mining to step up the campaign to encourage the youth, particularly girls in pursuit of courses in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which will pave the way for them to venture into mining and related technical fields.
The president of Women in Mining Ghana, Dr. Georges Sechiado, urged the professionals to create opportunities for young girls to help ensure a more diverse and inclusive mining industry. The mining industry has for long been built on hard labor, grit, and perseverance, reinforcing a system that disproportionately admires masculine identity. According to Women in Mining Ghana, this identity has waned in today's competitive world, urging mining firms to employ more women.
And that's it for your business.